I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love.
What's going on, everybody? It's your big homie, the armchair operator, and I got a special video for y'all today. So if you looked at the thumbnail, we already know what we're talking about. We talking about an invasion, an alien invasion, and we are talking about the Laugo Arms alien. This gun right here is something else. But before we get into all of that, first, I got to give a big shout out to the crew over at Laugo Arms for providing the firearm for this review. Without them, this review would not be possible. So special thank you to all of you. Dave, especially thank you to you, man. They are a really good guy. You know, they're a really good group of guys and gals over there. So, but anyway, we're going to talk about the Laugo Arms alien. We're going to put it on the tabletop. We're going to go over its specs and features. Then we're going to talk about how it handled for the range, how it handled for me on the range. And then we're just going to close it out. So I don't want to keep y'all too long. So without further ado, let's dive into the review. Okay, y'all, welcome to the tabletop review. So real quick, we're actually looking at the Laugo Arms Alien full kit. So there are actually different, I would say different options for you to purchase when it comes to the Laugo Arms Alien itself. But we'll get to that. But I just wanted to start off by saying that what we're looking at today is actually the Laugo Arms Alien full kit. And you can tell that by looking at this large case that it comes with. Now this particular case, this is a nice hard case that is actually lockable, as you can see here, and looks like you have water resistant, and these are the holes for the locks themselves. So when it comes to securing your firearm for like a competition, if you gotta fly with this gun, whatever the case may be, they basically give you all of that in the full kit. And that's also part of the reason why the MSRP is so high. But we didn't come here to look at the kit, so let's look at what's inside the kit. So first things first, let's open this up. And behold. So here we are, here we go. This is basically what you get in the kit. So let's just start at the top, right? Okay, so we got ourselves, this is actually just a little snack cap for like dry fire practice. You know, no big deal. Shaped in the shape of a 9mm round. We have the actual firearm itself with the top slide cover or rail or whatever you want to call it that has the red dot attached to it. This is actually their optic, and I believe this optic is also imported when they import the alien pistol itself. Over here we have a set of Allen keys in case you know you want to adjust the rear iron sights, which I will get to in a little bit. And we actually have a tool here. So real quick, so this is actually a cleaning tool. Now, due to the gas nature of the alien pistol itself, it is recommended that this tool be used to clean any carbon fouling out of the actual gas system. But I'm going to go into more detail about that when I talk about the maintenance portion of taking care of an alien pistol. It's actually a bit different than your standard blowback style semi-automatic handguns that you might be used to. So, but like I said, we'll talk about that. And from there, we have our magazine. So it comes with 3 17-round magazines. We're right here. Just a couple of the magazines. The other magazine is in the pistol itself. As you can see, these are made out of aluminum, and these are proprietary to the alien pistol itself. So you get 3 magazines that come with the gun, and of course, like I said, there's one in the gun itself. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. First things first. Well, should be first things first. We are going to verify that the firearm is clear. As you can see, there's no rounds in the chamber. The magazine itself is empty. And we are filming in a safe and controlled environment. My apologies. I know I do that first, but you know, I just went a bit on a tangent. But anyway, magazine. So a couple things we also have down here include with the kit. We have some carbon remover here. And basically, you know, you can use this to break up any stubborn deposits that you really can't get out with just the tool itself. And then plus it helps to just loosen and break it up anyway. So you have that. And you also have a little CLP. Now, according to Laugo Arms, this gun is best ran largely dry due to the gas piston nature of its operation. However, you can use some lubricant in certain areas of the pistol and it won't really hurt anything. And I will actually go through that as I'm going through the review here. We also get a holster. Now, this particular holster is what I actually found probably one of the most interesting things about the Laugo Arms Alien Creator Kit. So this thing is ratcheted, so it's auto adjusting, and plus it actually has a QD detach system via this button here. So you just depress this button and you can adjust it up so you can get a low ride, or you can get a high ride, or you can take it completely off like that. So you could actually attach this to your belt and then just adjust it as needed. So I thought that was really good. And this is solid aluminum. This piece right here is aluminum. This is not polymer. So you won't have to worry about this breaking at all. And of course, like, you know, if you need to make some finer adjustments, you could always just use a little Torx bit screwdriver to take these guys out and make your little adjustments if you want. You can change the cant and so on and so forth. And this is just your standard Kydex holster, adjustable screw tension right here via these screws. So it's good, it works. Now, let's talk about the iron sights. Now, this is the cover that has the iron sights on it. We have the rear iron. The rear sights are adjustable for both elevation and windage. And we have a fiber optic front sight that is red. So I like these sights. I've shot this pistol I've shot quite a few rounds through this pistol with this particular rail cover on, and the sights are they're very good. They're very good competition sights. Now, let's talk about this. So this gun is actually an inverted internal hammer fired pistol. What does that mean? So there is, when you squeeze the trigger, there's actually a piece that comes up that actually hits this component right here, which is attached to the hammer. So like if I were to push it with my thumb, it sends the hammer forward. And this actually hits the striker, which of course hits the cartridge, and the rest is history. So I think that's actually pretty interesting. But the trigger itself looks like it's a striker fire trigger, but it's actually an internal inverted hammer system. So I think that's pretty interesting. That's pretty unique. But I will talk more about this when I get to the disassembly portion of the review. But I just want to point that out really quickly here. And this is just the pin that actually retained this to the actual, I guess you say, the body of the gun. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to take a pause for a minute, shift this great big old box to the side, and we're going to focus more so on the pistol itself. So let's do that real quick. Okay, now that we got that great big old box out of the way, let's just focus on the gun itself. So let's talk about it. So of course we got the red dot mounted already on the top here. Let me see if I could give you a sight picture. It's actually pretty nice glass. The glass is pretty clear and the dot is very pronounced. I don't know if the camera is picking up on that at all, but just take my word for it, it's actually pretty good. Here are the controls for the dot itself. This control obviously dims it, and this increases the brightness setting. So I do not believe that this red dot has shake awake technology. So if we want to turn it off, I believe we just hold this button for like a couple seconds and it goes off, which I believe it is off now. And if we want to turn it on, we just hold that button for a few seconds and the dot comes on. I don't know if the camera is picking that up. One thing I will say is these dots are, I would say, they're sensitive, but it's funny because sometimes when I push on the button, it doesn't feel like I'm actually pushing the button, but I actually am. It's kind of weird, but they work just fine. It's just one of my little observations that I'm throwing out there. Now, while we're on the subject of the red dot, one thing that I really like about the red dot is that the battery tray is on the side. So you don't have to go through the whole thing of taking the red dot off the rail and then just to change the battery. So that's good. We also have our adjustment screw here for the elevation, and for the windage is actually on the side here. Now, one thing about this red dot, this particular red dot has adjustment lock capability. So that's actually what this is here. So you actually have to, before you go to make any adjustments, you have to unlock it and then make your adjustments. Otherwise, you run the risk of damaging your red dot. So just be cautious about that. The tool to actually do that is just like a little small set screw in there, and you could use one of the supply Allen keys to do that. So just be mindful of that. This is just basically your striker status indicator. Let's see what else. So let's go here. So we have some nice slide serrations here on the slide. This is the actual slide itself. So as you can see, the slide moves back, but the red dot stays, in place. This doesn't move. The same thing holds true with the actual iron sights. And that's one of the big things that helps to keep this, that's one of the biggest things that makes this a very accurate pistol. You don't have your red dot moving back with the slide or your iron sights, something that you would see on a traditional handgun. So this is a very accurate pistol. And I also like the fact that the slide serrations are as aggressive as they are. Now, due to the actual nature of the slide itself, it's very good that the serrations are that aggressive, because this is something that definitely takes a lot of getting used to. Because on most guns, you could probably, rack it from the optic, or, just, you have more to grip on is essentially when I'm driving it. But with this pistol, you don't really have a whole lot. So when you have the gun right here, most of the time, like on a traditional gun, you could just pull it back like that and rack the slide, or, send the slide home if it's locked back. But here, it's kind of difficult because the red dot is in the way, so you can do it, but it's harder. The pinch method for this gun is actually the preferred method. So doing it like that, that's your best bet. And that also kind of brings me to, I would say, another con about the design, at least in my opinion. So sometimes, like this particular slide it doesn't feel like, say, a 2011. It's not going to be as soft as, say, racking a 2011 or maybe even some other types of handguns, just by the nature of the springs and the piston on the inside of it. It's not to say that it's hard, but because you got to come at it at a different angle, if you have the red dot attached, it's just going to be something that you're going to have to get used to. And for anybody that might be curious, you're not air racking this thing. At least I can't, and I'm a pretty big guy. But I just wanted to just let that be known. But so let's continue on, shall we? So we have, this is basically our slide stop. Now here's an actual note from Laugo Arms themselves. This basically acts like a slide stop and a slide stop only. So you really don't want to drop the slide you don't want to send the slide home with the button. Reason being, you will basically cause premature wear to your slide stop, and then you'll run into a situation where you'll be firing, and you won't have any lock back. And this part actually has a way of rounding off after so many thousands of rounds, so it's generally not recommended to do that. The recommended way to send the slide home always is to just send it home like that, or you can do it from the rear. But me personally, I would just use the front because you don't have anything getting in the way of that. So just a little food for thought. We have our magazine release here. The magazine release is actually nice. It's textured here and it's a bit raised, so that way if you're here with it, boom, you got lock back. I don't even need to break my grip to drop the magazine, put one in, send the slide home, and keep on going. So I like that. And I also like the fact that not only is it raised, but it doesn't get in the way. Like some extended magazines, sometimes they're just kind of in the way because they protrude out too far. This is actually pretty good. And I think that has a lot to do with the scalloping that you see here around it, on the grip itself. Speaking of the grip, we have these pretty aggressive grip panels here on the sides here. These are actually really nice. And if you're talking about a race gun, a heavy race gun at that, which this is definitely a heavy race gun, you're going to want something that gives you a lot of traction here. You also have a good amount of traction up here on the front of the grip as well as on the back strap. I would say the back strap has the least amount of grip. The sides have the most, and the front is kind of in the middle somewhere. But that's just my opinion on that. I believe these grip panels are replaceable by removing these screws here on the sides. And there are other Alien pistols that have different looking grips and different looking grip panels. So just something to keep in mind there in case you want to spruce up your particular Alien pistol to your liking, right? And of course we have the magwell. Now I am not 100% sure if this is removable. I would imagine it is, and if so, it would probably be done by this little set screw here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I would imagine if I were to take that out, I should be able to take this magwell off, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. So what else we got? We got ourselves a Picatinny rail up front, 3-position here, and we have the trigger. So real quick, let's take a look at that trigger, shall we? Always we verify that it is empty. So the reset on this is crazy. So watch this. That's the take up. That is your take up. That's it. Boom. There you go. Reset. Did you hear that? It was very light. And do it again. Bang. And that's it. The trigger on this is crazy short. Very little take up. It's not quite 2011-ish in my opinion, but at the same time, it's pretty damn close. Like I don't really think that there is a similar trigger. I don't want to say that this is a striker trigger, but for the lack of a better way of putting it, a striker trigger. I don't think that there's a striker trigger that has this short of a take up with as crisp of a reset. I think the only close competitor, in my opinion, would be the rival steel frame. But I think that this actually has, there's almost no travel here. So this actually has less travel than the Canik. So there you go. Got texture on the front of the trigger guard. So, I mean, all in all, this thing is absolutely the Formula One car for competition handguns. It definitely is. Now, that being said, there are some cons to this design. One of the first cons to this design is that this pistol gets really freaking hot. So if you're planning on going to the range and putting 500 rounds through this pistol, just doing magnum after magnum after magnum, I got news for you. You better make damn sure that you're shooting with oven mitts because it gets really hot. really fast. And let's talk about the reason why. So I want to segue into that while we talk about disassembly for maintenance. So let's strip the pistol, talk about the cleaning, and I'm going to explain why this thing gets so hot. Okay, let's field strip this guy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to safety check, verify that it is empty, drop our magazine, and we're going to send the slide home. Now, first thing you want to do is that you see this right here, this pin, you're just going to push it from this side right there. And most of the time you could do this without tools, because it should be pretty easy. But one thing I do like to do, kind of like one of my ARs, I just put, like, after I clean it, I just put just a little bit of lube right there, just to make it so that it's easy to remove. But once you do that, you basically just give it a nice little gentle tap on the back of the slide, and it comes right off. So here's the top rail. So that's step one. And if you want to remove this piece here, you basically just lift up from the back like so, and just take that off. And now the piston just basically fell out. So essentially, this is the actual firearm in its field strip configuration. So we got the top rail, the slide rail, the actual piston itself, and this is the frame and the barrel assembly. So the barrel is fixed. This doesn't move. This is the channel for the actual piston itself, and this is where the cleaning tool will come into play. So what you can do, you could spray like a little carb cleaner or something like that, and just get this guy in here and then just kind of like break up the fouling, the carbon, and anything like that. And essentially all you're really trying to do here is to get it so that the gases can flow freely. One thing you don't want to do is that you don't want to get any lubricant or any oils into that piston in that gas area, because as we all know, that lubrication is going to attract dirt and fouling, and eventually it's going to restrict this piston area. So that's going to cause reliability issues with the actual firearm itself. So you definitely want to be careful of that. Oh, also we have a stainless steel bull barrel. I forgot to mention that, with a reverse crown, by the way. But anyway, this is your piston. So essentially when it comes to the piston, as you can see here, this is pretty dirty. This is a demo gun. This is not like it's a brand new pistol or anything like that. It has several thousand rounds through it, and I've put about close to 500-ish at this point. So, and I have not cleaned this particular part of it yet. But essentially what you want to do is that you just want to kind of get the carbon off. Once it gets to the point where it's caked up and you really can't see anything, this is actually pretty normal. So this piston, it doesn't really need to be cleaned, but if you wanted to, you can clean it. Just get the carbon off. You could use some of the some solvent or anything like that. Just make sure that this thing is fully dry when you reassemble the firearm. So just keep that in mind. Now, this is the actual slide assembly itself. And as you can see here, there is your firing pin right here and your internal extractor. It's actually very AR-like if you think about it. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but yeah, it's basically, that's it right there. And that's your striker in the back. So let me talk about this trigger real fast. So let's look at this. So here's the trigger right here, right? I don't know if you can see it, but do you see that? I don't know if you can see that there. But this is actually what pushes up into this little piece right here in the slide, which then hits this inverted internal hammer, or really right here, and that's what sends the actual hammer home. So in case you were wondering, that's how it worked. That's basically how. So as you're cleaning in here, by the way, just kind of be mindful of that. You don't want to use like a rag or anything that could catch on that, because that spring is easily bendable. So you just want to be careful with that. My recommendation, honestly, would be to just use a little bit of board scrubber or something like that. The spray-on kind, I like to use that. It's just basically alcohol based, and really you can just spray it and get a lot of that loose carbon and everything out of here, and then just clean it off, wipe it off, make sure it's totally dry, and then you're good to go. Now, as far as cleaning the actual barrel itself, just run a simple bore snake through there, and you know what I mean, and you're good. But the good thing about this gun is it doesn't really require a whole lot of cleaning to keep it working. I think they recommend this every maybe 500 to 1,000 rounds ish. Me personally, I have a habit of cleaning my guns after a range session, so that would be easy for me, assuming I own this pistol. But anywho, one thing I do like to do, I do like to put just a little bit of lubrication on the contact point. So as you can see, like right here, prime example, here's a contact point. You can actually see the wear inside of the frame itself, where this is basically where the slide is constantly reciprocating back and forth. Now, another thing you want to do too, just make sure that this area is clear of carbon. This has a habit of getting gunked up too. So basically all I really did was the same thing. I used a little bit of CLP and a brush just to get it off, and then I just wipe the area dry before reassembly. And I just do that simply because, like I said before, this is where it contacts the frame. So as it's moving, you want that to be able to move freely. But essentially, that's basically it. So let's go ahead and reassemble this guy. So we're just going to put the piston in the inside of its chamber there. And we have the spring in its place. Now, one thing you could do to help yourself is to kind of like hold this area with your thumb. Bring your slide assembly. And we're just going to kind of like push it in a little bit with my finger. And now we got that in place. Right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now all we got to do is just put our top rail on. Make sure that when you go to reassemble this, that the hammer is in this position. It makes life a lot easier when it comes to adding this top rail cover. And then you just kind of line it up with the hole where it's supposed to go. And then you just sit it in, give it a little bit of tap. Get it into place. Line it up, push the pin in, and we are right as rain, ladies and gentlemen. And the gun is reassembled. So that's basically it as far as field stripping it for cleaning and disassembly, and most of the major things that you want to be mindful of when you're taking care of an alien pistol. It's really not hard to do by any stretch of the imagination, and it doesn't require a lot of cleaning. You just need to know exactly what to look for and just to kind of how to go about it. So now that we've laid all of that out, let's get into my experiences on the range so far. All right, so on the range, first let me just say that the alien pistol is definitely next level. And because of that low bore axis, there's virtually no muzzle climb. You know, it's very, very little. And essentially, you do get that push back into your hands. I would say it was more perpendicular to your wrist as, say, more so a traditional gun where you get that, obviously, the noticeable flip because of the reciprocating slide. Now, the gun is deceptively heavy. Like, just looking at the alien pistol in pictures, you would never think that that's a 42-ounce gun unloaded with the magazine and the red dot on. And when the gun is loaded with the red dot on it, that gun is like 52 ounces. So because of all of that and the light trigger and the low bore axis and all that, it is a very soft shooting gun. Like, I mean, I can only imagine what this thing would do if it had a compensator or something like that. The gun is very soft shooting. Now, let's talk about the ergonomics. So, ergonomically speaking, as we all know, I'm a big dude. I'm like 6'3", like around 325 or so. And, you know, I have rather large hands. So, I have a natural tendency to choke up high on the grip whenever I grip the gun. Because of the fact that the slide is so low, it is very easy for me to get a little slide bite, which I actually did the first time I shot the pistol. Now, it wasn't like a traditional slide bite where it's just a notable, took a piece of, like a chunk of your hand off or anything like that, but it was just the fact that as the slide was reciprocating, it just started rubbing off the top layer of skin. So it's one of those things where I had to adjust my grip to really grip the gun. And it feels good in the hand, but I have to grab the gun a bit lower than I'm used to. The good thing is, because it doesn't have a standard slide that reciprocates, you don't really have to worry too much about the gun your shots being too off, because it has a naturally low bore axis. But it's one of those things for everybody out there who has larger hands and so on and so forth, and you're looking to get into an alien pistol. It's something that you're going to want to keep in mind, and you're definitely going to want to dry fire and do some practice with it before you get out there and shoot. That's just my opinion. You can take it for what you will. And now, as we're talking about ergonomics, so there's one thing that I did notice about the grip of the gun. The grip tends to be like a little wider, a little bit more so towards the bottom part of the grip, towards the mag well. So as I'm holding the gun, I put a bit more pressure between the bottom heel of my hand and my pinky, and it has a European style grip. Like, think of a Glock or something like that, or a CZ, where you got to kind of break your grip over in order to really, you know, get the sights lined up and on target. So I just kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to put a bit more grip pressure there. And when I do that, man, I'm keyholing targets when I do that. So it's actually helped me in that regard. And like I said earlier in the video, the magazine release is raised and is textured, so I don't have to break my grip to drop the magazine I'm sorry. Now, let's talk about the pink elephant in the room. The barrel sits close to the trigger, and all of that sits closer to your hand. And it's a gas operated gun. All of those things together creates one hot SOB. About 3 boxes in, so we're talking 150 rounds in, I noticed the heat immediately. And it wasn't too hot to the touch just yet, but it was close. At about the 200 round mark, at that point, I was done. I had to stop for a while. Now, mind you, during the testing, I had shooter gloves on. They weren't super thick gloves, but they are generally thick enough, like I can run my ARs with that all day long and not burn my hand. This gun got to the point where it was extremely hot to even touch with gloved hands. And generally all that heat is going to be centered around the trigger, which obviously is probably one of the most important parts to operating the damn gun. You got to be able to press the trigger, but you got to remember, like, where that gas piston sits. All of those explosions are taking place right above the trigger. So bottom line to all that is, it's not going to be it's not a gun where you're going to go to the range and mag dump, like I said, 200, 300, 400, 500 rounds right behind, like be back to back to back to back to back. That ain't happening. And it's a competition gun, so it's not really designed for that purpose. You figure, like, an average competition, you might have a course of fire where you might shoot 10, maybe 15 rounds, 20 rounds at the most, and then, you know, I mean, you're done for your turn for however long between, you know, stages or whatever the case may be. So you got to keep that in mind, that this is what this gun is purpose built to do. That's not to say that it can't be used in a home defense or a duty role. I mean, honestly, I think it very well can. Personally, I wouldn't conceal carry this gun, even though I could, because I'm a larger guy. I wouldn't do it because fully loaded, like I said, this thing is 52 ounces. So I don't want to be walking around trying to hike and pull my pants up all day long because I got a 52-ounce gun on my hip. You know, if I wanted to carry a full-size 9mm, I could carry a Glock 47 or something like that, which is a fraction of the weight with the same capacity. Not only that, me personally, if I was in self-defense shooting, yeah, I would not want to have to take a loss on a $5,000 gun just so law enforcement can do its investigation. But again, hey, those are just my opinions. I'm just putting that out there. But the bottom line is the design. It's a fun gun to shoot. It's a very fun gun to shoot. It's very accurate with the iron sights as well as the red dot. And it's a lot of fun. There are just some cons as far as the design of the pistol and the ergonomics where, for me, is something that I have to keep in mind, and that everybody who is looking to get into an alien pistol that you really need to keep in mind. But as far as reliability during testing, it has been 100% reliable. I haven't had any stoppages, any failures, anything. Like, it ran and it runs like a top. So now that we've got all of that out of the way, I guess it's basically time for my final thoughts. All right, final thoughts. So the Laugo Arms Alien is definitely a unique pistol. It has the lowest bore axis of probably any production gun in the world that I'm aware of. It's, you know, between the low bore axis, the method of operation, and the heft of the gun, you have essentially a race gun, a gun that's meant to go fast. Very quick follow-up shots, soft recoil, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, it's a very reliable gun, at least in my experience. Like, I really like the gun. But it's not without its cons. You know, first thing, the ergonomics. So, like I said, you have to be careful as far as how you're gripping the gun. Otherwise, you're going to get caught by the slide. The second thing is also, which I didn't actually touch on, that just occurred to me, as far as the support hand grip. So when it comes to the slide catch, you want to be careful not to put your support hand on the slide catch because you could inadvertently cause a failure to lock back there as well. Also, remember that slide catch is prone to wearing out over time, so you don't want to drop the slide using the slide catch. You don't want to inadvertently be pushing up on it because sometimes you could do that, be pushing up on it just a little bit as the slide is reciprocating. It won't necessarily lock it back, but it will cause enough drag on that piece on the inside to round it off. So just be careful of that. Also, let's talk about the heat. So like I said, it's not a gun that you're going to mag dump for like 200, 300, 400 rounds in a range session because it gets hot very fast. So just being mindful that after you shoot a couple boxes, just take a break, let it cool down. It doesn't take long for it to cool down and all, but just let it cool down. You know, do your thing, get a water, shoot another gun, go to the bathroom, whatever it is that you need to do, come back and resume your fun. Now, I think the biggest con to the Laugo Arms Alien is simply the damn MSRP. Now, there are actually different versions of the Creator that you can get. Not the Creator, I'm sorry, the Laugo Arms Alien that you can get. So, let me just bring that up really quick. I have it here. So, the one that we're actually taking a look at today is the full kitted out version. That particular one is around, I want to say, $5,700 MSRP. Yeah. So the entry-level Aliens, which is basically the Laugo Arms Aliens Performance Kit, runs at MSRP around $4,700 to about $4,850, and I believe that's pretty much the pistol itself. You know, of course, it comes to iron sights and the 3 magazines. I don't think it comes with the holster or the red dot or the actual case itself. I think it comes in a different package. Then you have another one. You have a rose gold edition, which is kind of like the standard Alien with some different accents. Now, me personally, if I were to go into this particular style of the Laugo Arms Alien, I would go for the full kit black and gold edition. That's $6,300, so it's kind of going up from there. And it has, like, you know, the gold accents and things like that. I just like the black and gold look. But that's just a me thing. And of course, we got the Creator Edition, which is probably the newest version of the alien. There's a creator, and there's also a limited edition creator. The limited edition creator is probably the most expensive that I've seen. That's around $7,000. That's a lot of coins. You're going to have to sell a whole lot of beer cans in order to get that thing. But that's the one that has the more 1911 style grip. And, you know, it comes with a limited edition. I believe it comes with a limited edition coin as well. And it's they're only making, I think they're only making 500 of those. So, you know, those are your options that are out there as far as the alien. Now, the question that a lot of people are asking, would I recommend buying the Laugo Arms Alien? Here's the thing. For a competition gun, it's a great competition gun for that. And I believe this gun is now legal in open division. Some of my competition shooters, could y'all let me know if that's the case or not, but I believe that it is. I feel like this. I really enjoyed my time with this gun. If I had the money to buy this gun, personally, I would do it. Why is that? First of all, it's a sexy pistol in my opinion. Some people may disagree. That's fine. I really like the look of the alien. If this was the black and gold one, I would really like the look of it. But even as it stands now, I like the look of it. I like the feel of the grip in hand. Even though it doesn't look like it's very thick, but it's thick enough down here that you can really get a good feel of it. It's soft shooting. It's fast. I'm accurate with it. It has a good red dot. There's a lot to like about the pistol. And the kit that it comes with is actually really good. So, like I said, if I had the money, would I buy this gun? Absolutely, I would. What would I use it for? Personally, this would be a fun gun and a competition gun. Now, again, I agree. This is a tall ass and this is a very expensive gun. This is why I don't own this pistol, because this is a very expensive gun. But would I buy it? Yes. Should you buy it? Well, that kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to go into the alien, if you want the full alien experience, my opinion, I would save up your money and go for the full kit, because you're getting 3 magazines, you're getting a holster with it, you're getting basically everything you need out of the box to compete with this thing or carry this thing or whatever you want to do. You don't have to worry about trying to find holsters or anything like that. Other magazines, even though having more magazines is always better, but at least you have 3, so you're pretty much good to go. I'll say all that to say, a lot of it comes with this gun is very proprietary. So while you can just get into the ground floor and buy an alien and source the stuff as time goes on, like you can get you could get the optic and the rail to go with it. You can buy magazines. You could eventually get a holster. But by the time you do all of that, you're actually going to be spending more money in the long run versus just getting the full creator kit. Well, saving your coins, getting a full creator kit, and call it a day. So, all in all, I think this is a great pistol. It is a fun pistol. It's definitely a unique pistol. It's not a pistol that is for everybody, but if you decide that you want the full alien experience and you want to go in on it, I think you will really enjoy the gun. So, all that being said, everybody, we have come to the end of another one. So, as always, I definitely appreciate the love and the support for all the views, all the shares, all the comments, all the subscribers. But real quick, I got a real quick favor for y'all. So, we're coming into the end of 2023, going into 2024. I am this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and the channel is only about maybe 7 or 8 months old. I know it's a tall ask, but I really would love to hit 1,000 subscribers before January 1st of 2024. So if y'all could please, please, please do your big homie a solid. Smash that like button, comment, share, all of that. Blow it up, hype it up, whatever the case may be. Please, please help me out with that. This channel would be nowhere without y'all. You know, even if you hate the video, you can comment on it and just tell me how much you hate the video, how much I suck, how much I mess my words up, or you don't like the pistol, or I'm just stupid, whatever it is. Just please let a brother know what you're thinking, and we will take it from there. But I'm going to let y'all loose, man. Thank you so much for spending this time with me to watch this video. I definitely appreciate it. And this is your big homie, and I am out. Peace.